Hey everyone, Paul Johnson from Waconia, Minnesota and the Laughing Trout Fly Tying Club. Today we're going to be tying my Purple Prince Charming. This fly, the origins of it came from Fly Tyer magazine a few years ago, where they had a feature article on the Prince Charming. And that fly had a marabou tail, kind of an olive body, had the same wings, biot wings as a prince nymph, and then had kind of the same pronounced collar with hackle. I thought, but that was a pretty cool fly. I tied a few, and I wasn't real happy with everything. So the big thing I did is I went with a purple colored body. I did away with the marabou tail and went with a mayfly brown Zelon. And I eliminated some of the dubbing that he had tied in with in the collar. So this is how I came up with my Purple Prince Charming. It's tied on a size 14 scud hook. I always tie it with the tungsten bead. Here it's a 2.8 millimeter tungsten bead. So we have mayfly brown Zelon for her shuck, purple Spanflex, Life Flex. There's a bunch of different stretchy flosses that work for that. A regular white goose biot for the wing, and grizzly rooster hackle for her collar. So let's get started tying this fly. Already have the bead on the hook. Insert it in the vise. I'm going to use 8/0 uni thread in purple. We'll just get that started right behind the bead. Cut the excess off. I'll tie in a length of the Zelon. Now I want this to be right on top of the hook shank as I tie it back. Okay, and I'll bring my thread back to just behind the bead. Cut that off about a hook gap in length, and we'll just clean this up in the front. And I have one stray one there to get rid of. The ribbing is going to be gold wire, size brassy. I'm going to tie that in on my side of the hook. Just trying to keep it smooth with no lumps or bumps. And I'll take the thread back up to right behind the bead. So now I'll tie in my stretchy floss. Again, keeping it right on my side of the hook. Avoid any lumps or bumps. Alright, I'll use my rotary feature, so I'll just put a 1/2 inch knot in there. And we'll wrap that stretchy floss in touching turns until we get to the front of the hook. Taking care to avoid that hook point. Alright. The bobbin cradle out of the way. Tie that in, and then we can get that excess out of there. Next we'll take the wire in even spaced wraps. Moving forward. Till we get right behind the bead, secure that with a few wraps of tying thread, and I'll just go in there with the fingernail clippers and cut that excess out of there. Alright, next is the wing. So I have 2 goose biots that I'm going to tie in. They'll kind of look like little angel wings. And I do want the one that's going to be pointed back to me to be on the top. So when I tie it in there. Be a little tricky when you start tying these. A few wraps of tying thread in there. bind it down, double check how it looks. And I'm pretty happy with that. And we'll go in there and cut those butt ends out of the way. Now you don't have to be as concerned with this like you would on a standard Prince nymph and having all those wraps of thread, because our hackle is actually going to cover that up. So I have regular rooster hackle, grizzly. This is sized to a size 16 hook. And I'm going to make 3 full wraps of hackle. Tie that off, clip off the excess, and then I'll do a 4 or 5 turn whip finish. And there we have it, our finished Purple Prince Charming. The fly with that tungsten bead sinks well, works really well floated under a hopper, something like that, or under an indicator. What I think makes a big difference is the rooster hackle collar. If you see it in the water, it'll kind of trap air bubbles as it's drifting down the river. And I think that's one thing that the fish will kind of key in on, is those air bubbles. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thank you.